Alright, guys, so we are going to be doing lesson 5.5, which in this case is graphing quadratics in factored form. It is similar to what we did on yesterday's lesson. Yesterday's lesson was the zero product property, which talks about expressions, quadratic expressions in factored form. So students in this case can graph quadratic equations in factored form by solving for the x-intercept and the vertex. So goal in this case, guys, for today's lesson is that we want to go ahead and find the x-intercepts and the vertex in order for us to graph. That's actually all you need. You actually only need 2 points. Vertex is the most important one. And based on what we're working with, which in this case is factor form, we're going to go ahead and focus on the x-intercepts. Just a few of our vocab terms here. Zero, roots. Zeros are roots, guys. It's the same thing as saying x-intercepts in this case. Axis of symmetry talks about the x-coordinate of the vertex. So we'll actually be seeing all of this in today's lesson. So let's go ahead and get started here with example 1. And in this case, it says graph y equals 1/2 times x minus a 6 times x plus a 2. Now, goal in this case, guys, is to find our x-intercepts and find the vertex. In this case, since we have an expression that's in factored form, once again, this here is factored form. Or more specifically, because we have these two binomials, that there is factored form. And factored form helps us find the zeros of the function. Zeros or the x-intercepts. So that's what we want to go ahead and do. First thing we want to do is find the x-intercepts. So in order for us to do that, we actually have to make the equation equal to 0. Or more specifically, make both of these binomials equal to 0. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do that in black. I'm just going to write everything else down. All right. Now, we're basically going to make everything equal to 0. We're not going to do the 1/2 equal to 0 unless the 1/2 has an x. In this case, it doesn't, so we're actually going to ignore it. And we're only going to make the expressions that have a variable equal to 0. All right, so we want to go ahead and solve for x here, guys. Solve for x. So first thing I want to do here is do the opposite with the -6. So add a 6 to both sides. And in this case, we have 6 equal to x or x equal to 6. Same thing. All right. Now, in this case, I am going to do the same thing on the right-hand side. Subtract the 2, which is do the opposite. And that would give me x is equal to a -2 or -2 equals x. It's the same thing. So once again, this here is the same thing as saying x minus a 6. Once again, you're just switching the order there. Same thing. So these here represent our x-intercepts. Now, because these two are our x-intercepts, I'm going to go ahead and do those in green. X-intercepts. Those are going to be points. So these points would actually be -2, 0. So once you graph it, it's that point. And it's also going to be the point 6, 0. So we have 2 points there. Now, in this case, guys, we want to go ahead and now focus on finding the vertex. Let's do it in purple. Find vertex. All right. Now, in order for us to find the vertex with expressions or functions that are factored form, I actually need to first find, number 1, first find axis of symmetry. So we want to find our axis of symmetry, or in this case, AOS. Once again, in order for us to find the axis of symmetry, or to find the vertex is actually going to be in between these two numbers. It's exactly in the middle of these two numbers. So I will be finding the axis of symmetry because that actually helps me find the average of the x's. So it's basically finding the average of the x's. And we did see this in the first lesson, 5.1. So if I want to do that, once again, finding the average is adding both of my x-intercepts and dividing by 2. So in this case, that's going to be 6 plus a negative 2. Just put that in parentheses. Divided by 2, because there's 2 terms. So 6 plus a negative 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So in this case, the axis of symmetry is 2. Or the x in the vertex is going to be 2. So all we need to do in this case is find the y. Last step in this case is find the y coordinate. And I know this might seem like a lot of work, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. So if we want to find the y coordinate of the vertex, y coordinate of vertex, we do have to do some substitution. So because we found our axis of symmetry in this case to be 2, it's also the same value as the x in the vertex. So we have to substitute the axis of symmetry into our original equation, which is the one we have up here. So let me just write it down. It's y equals 1/2 x minus a 6 times x plus a 2. All right, and that's what we have there. And wherever I see an x, I will be substituting in the 2. All right, so this is what we get. I have y equals 1/2 2 minus a 6 times 2 plus a 2. All right, so this is y equals 1/2. 2 minus a 6 is a negative 4. And then 2 plus 2 is 4. All right, so then I'll go ahead and multiply the parentheses. Negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. And negative 16 times 1/2, or negative 16, it gives us negative 16 over 2, which in this case gives us y equal to a negative 8. So that there is the y coordinate. Y coordinate of vertex. So my vertex in this case is found, going back up here, at the point 2 comma negative 8. And we'll go ahead and highlight this in pink. Find the y coordinate. It was negative 8, and that's what we have there. So if I graph this in this case, I'll go ahead and graph it in this section. I'm just going to go ahead and create a graph there. So the con for this lesson, guys, you guys will be graphing the functions here. It's not going to be by hand. I'm actually going to go ahead and show you guys an example later on. But let me just do some labeling here. I'm going to go by 2s, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 2, 6, 8. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8. And you still have these here, but I'm not going to label those. This is a negative 2 and a negative 4. And that's negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, and negative 8. All right, so first off, guys, I will be plotting my x intercepts, which is the 0.6 comma 0 and negative 2 comma 0. So I'll do those in green. So negative 2 comma 0 is here. So that's there. 6 comma 0 is there. And our vertex is the 0.2 comma negative 8. So 2, negative 8 down here. Let's do it in this color. And let me just go ahead and connect. And that is our problem. Alright, so that is our answer there, guys. Once again, graphing it, this is my vertex. And then we have our x-intercepts here.